Hi, welcome to 5 ArchiCamp. My name is Matt, I'm an architect, and I'm going to guide you through the process of building our treehouse. First, what we're going to do is go over the pieces that we have, and then we'll start building. So today, I have our day 1 pack. This has a label on it that says day 1. Also from your kit, I have the paintbrush, I have the paint colors, and I have the glue bottle. I'm going to open up the day 1 kit, and then we'll go over the pieces that are in there. Okay, so in our day 1 pack, we have a bag of moss. We have 2 base pieces. These are our base pieces, or our site. We have 2 packets of a template and some wooden dowels. And then we have our scaly figure. So today our goal is going to be to build the site and also to build the structure for our treehouse. So the first thing we're going to do will be to build the structure, and then we'll jump on the site. So what I need you to do is keep your 2 packets of dowels and your glue handy so that we can get started. Okay, so we've opened up our small bag. I've sorted my pieces, and I want to show you what you need to do now too. So we have our paper templates here. These are both the same. Okay, so I'll lay those out on my work area. And then our dowels are 2 different sizes. So we have a short dowel and a long dowel. Okay, I have those in 2 different piles here as well. What we're going to do now is take one of the short dowels and place it on our template page. We'll line it up with the line on the template page, and we'll do that again with another short dowel. There we go. So those are ready on our template right there. Okay. Now what we'll do is we'll take our glue and we'll put a dab of glue on the top of one right next to the red arrow and on the bottom of the other right next to the red arrow. I'm going to hold the paper just in case something wants to move here, okay? We'll put a little dab of glue there, and we'll put a little dab of glue right here. All right, big dab of glue. Now what we're going to do is take one of the long dowels, and we're going to drop it onto the glue. My dowel over here rolled away once the glue came on it, so I'm just going to roll it back, hold it in place, and then I'm going to take this and drop it right onto the glue pieces here, okay? So now, mine moved a little bit. All right, there we go. So it's on the paper. We're gonna let this dry. So I'm gonna move this page aside. We're gonna do it again here. Then we're gonna open up the other bag and we're gonna go through the process again. So let's slide this over and do the next one. Okay. My dowel rolled again when I put glue on it, so I just held it with my hand while I put the dowel on there. So I have 2 leftover pieces. I have these 2 long dowels left. We're going to use these again after, once these are dry. So I'm going to put this paper aside, put these 2 dowels aside. I'm going to grab my other bag now with the large template. So I have the large template here. And again, we have 2 different size dowels. We have a long dowel and then a short dowel. Okay. We're gonna do the same process. Match up the dowel. So in this one, the short dowel is the vertical. And then the long one is the diagonal. So go ahead and follow the same process, and we'll see you when we're done. All right, so we're done. So I'm sure you saw, I had a little bit of a hiccup there when I was putting the glue on and putting the diagonal bracket or brace on. That's okay. The dowels are round, they're going to roll a little bit. That's okay. Once the glue is on there and you have the pieces on, you can move them around a little bit, adjust them. The most important thing while these are drying is that they are lined up. So once you have them stuck with the glue, you can push around the pieces a little bit, get them to line up, and just do your best to get those wooden dowel pieces to match up with the template. Put all of these templates aside, let them dry, and we'll see you back for the next step. All right, so we're back here. We have our 2 base pieces. So these are made out of foam core. You have a base piece that's like this, it has a big hole in it. It has the 5 ArchiCamp logo on the bottom. And then we have another base piece like this with a bunch of holes in it. This base piece has an X on the bottom. Okay, I want you to place that X facing you, okay? So the X is right here next to me. And then I have the upper piece with the cutout. And the way that we're going to line this up for gluing is we're going to put the logo right there, close to you as well. So the logo is going to go over the X. So we're going to glue these two pieces together so we have our site. So we're going to put glue on the top. Okay, so pick this up and we're going to put glue all over here and then apply it to the bottom. So there's all my glue, okay? Make sure you don't have any glue along these edges here or around the holes. These holes are going to be for the trees. So just do your best to kind of get the glue in the open space where there's just white area. So I'm putting mine down on top of the X, logo over the X, like that. And this is going to set up pretty quickly. So what I want you to do is just line up the edges, give it a little press so the glue kind of comes in. And that's it. You can place a book on this to hold it down. You can let it be just like it is. Again, put this aside and let it dry, and we'll move on to the next step. All right, so next we're gonna paint our scaly. All of our models have a scaly figure. So I have my scaly right here, and I have a paper towel. I'm gonna paint on the paper towel just so I don't get paint on my work surface. I have the paintbrush, and I have our fall color palette of paints. We're gonna paint our scaly purple. So I have the purple opened here, and we're just gonna cover them up with paint. If you wanna use a different color, that's fine. I just like purple for this one. So paint away and we'll see you when we're done. All right, so my scaly's all painted. He or she is all purple. And this is gonna take a little while to dry. So just leave them here on the paper towel, put it somewhere safe, wash your brush. We're gonna use it tomorrow or on day 2, and we'll see you back for the next step. All right, we're back. So we have our base here. It's all dry now. We have our moss, our green moss. We have a pair of scissors, and we have our glue bottle. These are adult scissors. You can use your kid's scissors to cut the moss. So we're going to open up our moss bag and pull a bunch of this out here, okay? So we have a bunch of moss. So this moss is going to fill the opening in our base. So the best way to do this is to pull apart the moss, or you can even cut it. So I'm going to cut a little chunk here, okay? So I have a chunk of moss ready to go. And we can work in sections. So we're going to take the moss and fill it into the hole. And what I would suggest you do is put down a little bit of glue in one area, apply the moss, and then move to the next area. One thing you do want to be careful about is to get glue in the holes. Those holes are going to be for the structure of the treehouse. So avoid the holes. Later on, we'll find them when we're going to put the structure in, but try not to get any glue inside. All right, so let me start a section and I'll show you what I've done, what I can do. Right, so there's one little area filled with moss. The moss is going up, it's going down, it's going in, it's going out. It's natural material, so it can go wherever it wants, wherever you want it to go. So we're going to work across the whole entire board here to fill it up with glue and moss. And make sure you avoid those holes, and we'll see you when we're done. All right, So I've got the whole base filled with moss. You can see that it's filled this area here. You probably can't see the holes, but I did try to avoid them the best I could when I was gluing the moss in. The holes are in there. And I have a little bit left. You might have a bunch left over. You may not have any left over at all. That's perfectly fine. So let this dry and we'll see you on the next step. So we brought over all of our structure templates. These have had a chance to dry. They're pretty dry, not completely dry. So I have the large templates over here and the small templates over here. We have the long extra dowels over here and the short extra dowels over here. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the structure, which is shaped like an N or a Z, and we're going to flip it over, okay? So I'm going to grab this one here. It could be a little bit wet still. If yours is extremely wet, what I'd like for you to do is actually wait a little bit longer before starting this step. Mine was stuck. I pulled it off a little bit, and what we're going to do now is take these and flip them over. Oh, all right. So that was one of them, and now it's a little bit kind of funny here. So what I'd like for you to do is just reposition your N, now it's a backwards N, on the template. So we're going to flip these all over as well and do the same thing. So watch me here. Okay, so they're all flipped over. So now we have a whole bunch of backwards ends on our paper. Yours might look like a regular shaped end depending on which way you did it, but now we have these all on the reverse side. So we're going to put glue and glue this into the shape of an X. So our truss or our structure is going to have an X shape, which will give it strength. So on this one here, we have this line that's left. That's where our dowel is going to go. So we're going to put glue on the top here next to this red arrow, and glue here next to the bottom red arrow. All right. Then take your long dowel. Again, this is the big structure piece, and we'll drop it right into the glue like that. All right, we're gonna let that dry. We're gonna do the same thing to the other three. So one thing I do want you to just make sure of is that you do have your diagonal braces lined up with the arrows. On the bottom of each of your dowels, there should be a little bit of wooden dowel left before you get to the diagonal piece. So you see right here, there's wood right there. There's wood right here. That's the part of the structure that's gonna go into the base. So we need to have a little bit of wood there, okay? So just check that. As long as you're lined up with the red arrows, you should be fine. All right, so our structure's here, it's gonna dry. We also have our scaly figure drying, and we have our base drying. So leave all these overnight, come back tomorrow, and we'll get started with day 2, but that was a fun day 1.